In this Bluehost WordPress tutorial, I'm going to show you how to set up Bluehost with WordPress completely from scratch. We'll go from choosing your hosting and getting your free domain name to creating your WordPress website, customizing it, and getting it ready to publish. And I'll show you the difference between the Bluehost dashboard and the WordPress dashboard because that's one of the easiest things to get confused about when you're starting out. Let's start with Bluehost. If you haven't signed up yet, I'll put my exclusive Bluehost discount link in the description below. It gives you access to lower pricing than going directly through Bluehost, so make sure you use that link if you want the extra savings. This is an affiliate link, which means I'm earning a commission if you purchase through it at no additional cost to you. If you already have a Bluehost account, you can skip past this part and go directly to the website setup. Otherwise, click the View WordPress Plans button. Here, you'll see the 4 Bluehost plans available with my exclusive discount. The one site plan is the lowest cost option at $199 per month with the 36-month term. It supports one website and includes a free domain name for the first year, SSL, CDN, the AI site builder, and weekly backups. For most beginners creating their first WordPress website or blog, this is the plan I'd start with, and it's the one I'm going to use for this tutorial. If you know you want to host more than one website, the starter plan supports up to 10 websites and gives you more resources. Business Essentials is designed for larger or growing sites. It supports up to 50 websites, gives you more storage and traffic capacity, and adds features like phone support, malware removal, and a web application firewall. And if you're specifically creating an online store, E-commerce Essentials adds WooCommerce, Stripe, and PayPal integration, subscriptions, and memberships, along with substantially more resources. For this tutorial, I'm choosing one site because we're creating a single WordPress website and there's no reason to pay for capacity we don't need. After choosing your plan, Bluehost will ask you to set up your domain name. Your domain is the address people will type in to visit your website, and Bluehost includes a free domain name for the first year with these plans. You'll also see Domain Privacy Plus Protection selected here. This is an optional paid add-on that helps keep your personal contact information private. I personally recommend having domain privacy enabled, but if you don't want the additional cost, you can uncheck it here. If you already know the domain you want, enter it here, and Bluehost will check whether it's available. For example, if I were creating a website for a landscaping company called Green Valley Landscaping, I might search for something like greenvalleylandscaping.com. Try to choose something that's easy to spell, easy to remember, and represents your business or website. But if you haven't decided on the perfect domain yet, you don't need to rush this step. You can choose the domain later option and continue setting up your Bluehost account and WordPress website. For this tutorial, I already know the domain I want, so I'll enter it here and continue. Before entering your payment information, take a second to check the billing term you've selected. Bluehost gives you different term options, and the price can change depending on how long you choose to pay for upfront. A longer term will give you a lower monthly equivalent price, but you'll pay for that entire term upfront. So check the term you've selected, the total due today, and what the plan will renew at before continuing. Once everything looks right, enter the account and payment information Bluehost requests. I'm not going to spend several minutes reading every field here because most of it is straightforward. Before completing the purchase, review your order one more time. Make sure the hosting term is what you intended to choose. Check the total due today and review any optional products or services so you know exactly what's included in your order. Once everything looks right, complete the purchase. You'll then be taken to a thank you page while Bluehost finishes setting up your hosting account. Once your account is set up, you'll arrive inside Bluehost. The interface you see may look slightly different if Bluehost updates something, but the important section we're looking for is your website area. Bluehost and WordPress are not the same dashboard. Bluehost is where you manage things related to your hosting account, websites, domains, and hosting settings. WordPress is where you'll actually manage the content and design of your WordPress website. We'll be using both. If Bluehost has already taken you directly into the website creation process, you can continue from there. From the websites page, click Edit Site. Bluehost automatically installs WordPress for the site. You don't need to manually download WordPress, upload files, create a database, or do any of that for a normal setup like this. Once WordPress is installed, Bluehost should give you the option to create a new WordPress website or import an existing one. We're creating a new site, so I'll choose the site creation option. This is where Bluehost starts building the initial version of the website. Don't worry if you're not sure exactly what you want the site to look like yet. We're mainly giving Bluehost enough information to create a useful starting point. First, choose the type of website you're creating. For this example, I'll use a business website. Enter your website name. I'll use Green Valley Landscaping. Then describe what the website is about. The description matters because Bluehost can use this information when creating the initial site. Instead of writing something extremely short like landscaping website, I'd be more specific. Green Valley Landscaping provides lawn care, landscaping, mulching, seasonal cleanup, and outdoor maintenance services for homeowners in the Atlanta area. That gives the builder much more context. Continue to the next step. If you already have a logo, you can upload it here. If you don't, Bluehost also gives you a Create with AI option, but I wouldn't let the logo hold up the rest of the setup. You can create one here or skip this step and add your final logo later. Next, Bluehost will begin building your website. Bluehost will also ask how familiar you are with WordPress. Since this tutorial is aimed at beginners, I'll choose beginner. That allows the onboarding experience to provide more guidance while we're setting everything up. Bluehost will now start creating the website. I'm going to speed this part up because there's no reason for you to watch a loading screen. And here's our first major result. Bluehost has created different starting designs based on the information we entered. You can hover over any design and click preview to take a closer look before choosing one. Once you select a design, you can also switch between the available layouts using the options on the right side of the screen. Don't spend too much time trying to find the perfect one. Focus on the overall structure, the header, main image, sections, and how the page is laid out. The text, images, colors, and individual sections can all be changed later. I'm going to use this layout. Take a quick look through the page to make sure you're happy with the overall structure. We already have navigation, a headline, content sections, calls to action, and a solid starting point. Once you're ready, click Save and Publish in the top right corner. Now we can start turning this into our actual website. We're now inside the WordPress dashboard under the Bluehost tab. To start editing the site, click the Edit button. The first thing I'd change is the main headline because that's one of the first things visitors will see. For our landscaping example, instead of generic placeholder copy, I could use professional landscaping and lawn care in Atlanta. Underneath that, I'd use one short sentence explaining exactly what the business does. Then make sure the main button gives the visitor an obvious next step. Something like request a free estimate. That's already a much stronger homepage because the visitor immediately knows what the company does and what they're supposed to do next. Go through the same process with the other major sections. Replace generic text. Remove sections you don't need. Add your own contact information. And replace stock images with your own images whenever possible. You don't need to completely finish every word of the website right now. The goal is to get the structure right first. Once you're happy with the starting design, save your changes. Depending on where you are in Bluehost setup, you may see an option to publish the design or continue customizing it. And at this point, we've gone from having no WordPress website to having an actual site created on our Bluehost hosting. Before we finish, there's one more thing you need to know. How to get back into WordPress and manage your site later, because this is how you'll manage the website going forward. From your Bluehost account, go back to Websites, find the website you just created. You'll see an option to click Edit Site. This takes us into the WordPress dashboard. This is where you'll spend most of your time after the initial setup. You don't need to understand every menu item you see here. For beginner, there are only a few areas I want you to recognize. Pages is where you'll manage static pages like your home, about, services, and contact pages. Post is where you'll create blog posts. Appearance controls parts of the website's design, although exactly what you see here can depend on the theme you're using. Plugins are additional features you can add to WordPress. And settings controls various website settings. That's enough to get started. Don't go through every menu just because it's there. Let's edit one page so you know how this works. Go to Pages, find the page you want to change. I'll open the home page. Depending on the setup and theme you're using, the editing interface may look a little different, but the basic idea is the same. Select the content you want to change, update the text, replace images, add or remove sections as needed. I'll change this sentence, then save or update the page. Now open the website again, and there's our change on the live site. So the main thing to remember is that you make your changes inside WordPress, save them, and then they appear on your live website. If you need another page, go back to Pages and choose Add New Page. Let's say this landscaping company needs a dedicated services page. Give the page a title, add the content you want. You can use headings, paragraphs, images, buttons, and other WordPress blocks to build the page. I'm not going to build an entire page from scratch here because at that point, we'd be turning this into a full WordPress design course. The important thing is knowing where pages are created and edited. Save the page when you're finished. Blog posts work almost the same way. Go to Posts and choose Add New Post. Add your title. Write your content. Add images if needed. And publish the post when you're ready. If you're building a normal business website and don't plan on blogging yet, you don't need to spend much time here right now. Focus on finishing your essential pages first. One quick warning about plugins. WordPress plugins can add almost any feature you can think of, but that doesn't mean you should immediately install 30 of them. Only add a plugin when you actually need the feature it provides. If Bluehost or your website setup has already installed plugins for the tools you're using, I wouldn't start removing things randomly either. Get the basic site working first, then make changes intentionally. Before we consider the website ready, I do one quick check. Make sure the business or website name is correct. Check your main headline. Check your buttons. Check your phone number, email address, and contact information. Open the important pages in your navigation and look at the website on a phone or use the mobile preview to make sure everything still looks good on a smaller screen. Also, make sure you're visiting the secure HTTPS version of your site. And most importantly, remove any placeholder content that doesn't actually belong to your website. A simple website with accurate information is better than an elaborate site filled with unfinished demo content. When you want to work on the site again later, you have two easy options. You can log into Bluehost, go to Websites, and click Edit Site. Or you can normally access the WordPress login for your website by adding /wp-admin to the end of your domain. So if the website were greenvalleylandscaping.com, the WordPress login would normally be greenvalleylandscaping.com/wp-admin. Bookmarking that can save you some time, and that's the complete Bluehost WordPress setup. We started without a website, set up Bluehost, created the WordPress installation, generated the initial design, customized it, and went through the WordPress dashboard you'll use to manage the site going forward. At this point, I would start changing everything at once. Finish your homepage, create your About, Services, and Contact pages, replace the placeholder images and text, then get the site published and approve it from there. If you haven't signed up with Bluehost yet, I'll leave the link I used in the description below so you can follow the same process.